Maya had always dreamed of working in a real office. At 28, after years of working in small shops and doing part-time jobs, she finally landed a position at a well-known company downtown. It wasn't anything fancy, just an assistant in the marketing department, but for her it felt like the beginning of something big. On her first morning, she stepped into the tall glass building with a mix of nerves and excitement. Everything looked polished and modern. People in crisp clothes walked with purpose. Maya smoothed her blouse and reminded herself to smile. As she walked toward the elevator, she passed a janitor kneeling by the bathroom door, scrubbing the floor. His overalls were stained, his gloves wet, and a mop leaned beside him. But what caught her attention was that he was humming softly, like he was enjoying himself. He didn't look bothered or rushed. In fact, he looked peaceful. Maya slowed down for a moment, then let out a small laugh under her breath. That guy must have really messed up his life to end up scrubbing toilets, she thought. She shook her head, a little amused, and stepped into the elevator without saying a word. As the doors closed, she glanced back one last time. The man never looked up. He just kept cleaning, still humming to himself, like nothing in the world could touch him. To Maya, he was just a janitor, nothing more. She didn't know his name. She didn't think about his story. He was just part of the background, and in her mind that was where he would stay. She had no idea how wrong she was. Over the next few days, Maya noticed the janitor more often. He was always there early in the morning, long before the office filled up with people. Sometimes when she came in late at night, she'd see his flashlight shining through the empty hallways as he quietly worked. He never seemed rushed or tired. Instead, he moved carefully, almost like he cared deeply about every little thing he cleaned. His humming never stopped. It was the same soft tune, like a song he loved. Other employees barely noticed him. They walked past without a glance, too busy with their own lives. But Maya couldn't stop thinking about him. Why did he seem so calm and proud while doing a job no one wanted? One afternoon, Maya waited near the reception area and overheard a conversation. The janitor was chatting quietly with the receptionist, telling a story about when he built this company from scratch. Maya raised her eyebrows. It sounded like a joke. How could a janitor be the founder? She told her friend Sarah about it later. Sarah laughed and said, "Maybe he's the secret CEO hiding behind the mop, the bathroom boss." They both giggled, making fun of him. But Maya still felt uneasy. There was something about the man that didn't fit the usual story. He wasn't just a janitor, he seemed to know more than he let on. And the way he talked about the company, it was like he belonged to it, not just cleaned it. Maya tried to push the thoughts away. After all, she had work to do. But every time she saw him, humming quietly with his mop, a small voice inside whispered that she might be wrong about him. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to the janitor than met the eye. But Maya didn't want to admit it yet. It was easier to laugh, easier to believe the joke. She didn't know that soon, everything would change. Maya worked hard every day. She wanted to prove she belonged in the big office world. Her manager noticed and praised her for being quick and careful. Slowly, Maya began to feel more confident. Maybe this was really her chance. One afternoon, Maya got invited to a special lunch with some of the company's top leaders. It felt like a big deal. She put on her best dress and practiced what she would say. She was excited to meet the people who made the big decisions. At the lunch, the conversation flowed easily. People talked about projects, goals, and the future. But when Maya asked about the company's founder, everyone grew quiet. No one seemed to know much. Some shrugged. One older executive said with a smile, "The founder, nobody really knows who he is. He's like a ghost." Everyone laughed softly. Maya thought it was strange. How could such a big company have no clear founder? She glanced around, wondering if the janitor she had seen cleaning floors might be the one they were talking about, but quickly shook the thought away. That idea was silly. The mystery made Maya curious. But she didn't ask more questions. She wanted to focus on her work and climb the ladder, not get distracted by old stories. After all, she had enough to worry about, like making sure her reports were perfect and her emails were clear. Still, A small part of her wondered about the man who hummed while cleaning, the one everyone ignored. Who was he, and why did no one talk about him? For now, Maya put those questions aside and kept moving forward, believing that success would come from hard work, not from hidden secrets. Little did she know, the secret was about to find her. One morning, Maya's world felt like it was falling apart. She had spent hours preparing an important report for her manager, but when she sent it off, she realized she had made a big mistake. Some of the numbers were wrong, seriously wrong. Her manager called her into the office, his face stern. "Maya, how could you miss this? This report is critical. This kind of error could cost us a lot." Maya's heart sank. She stammered an apology, but it felt like no one was listening. The manager's voice was cold, and the words cut deep. She felt humiliated in front of her coworkers. Maybe she wasn't cut out for this job after all. That day, Maya left the office early, her mind spinning. She felt small and worthless. As she walked down the hallway near the bathrooms, she saw the janitor again. He was finishing his work, wiping the floor with slow, steady motions. He looked up and nodded at her. "Tough day, huh?" he said quietly. Maya frowned. "You wouldn't understand." He smiled gently. "More than you think." She didn't know what to say. For once, she felt like someone saw her. Really saw her, without judgment. But pride held her back from opening up. She hurried past him, her mind still heavy. What could he possibly understand about her struggles? A janitor humming while cleaning. It didn't make sense. But his words stuck with her longer than she wanted to admit. Maybe there was more behind that calm smile. Maybe this man who everyone ignored or laughed at, knew something about hardship and strength. Maya walked away, confused and uncertain, wondering if she would ever find a way to prove herself worthy in this new world. A few days later, the company announced an urgent leadership meeting. Maya and several other employees were called into a sleek conference room. The air buzzed with curiosity and tension. Nobody knew what the meeting was about, but everyone felt it was important. Just as the room settled, the door opened. A sharply dressed man walked in, followed by the janitor Maya had seen every day. But this time, the janitor wasn't in overalls. He wore a tailored suit, clean and crisp, his posture confident. The room fell silent. People exchanged surprised looks. Maya's heart pounded in confusion. The man in the suit smiled and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Hale, the founder and majority owner of this company." Mr. Hale stepped forward. Calm and steady, he walked straight to the executive office door at the end of the room. With a smooth motion, he unlocked it with his own key and opened the door wide. Everyone stared, mouths slightly open. Mr. Hale turned back to the group. "I spend time working where most people don't expect me to understand every part of this company. Cleaning the floors, fixing problems, listening to voices you might miss. I'm not just the owner, I'm a servant of this business." He looked directly at Maya. Some people see a man with a mop and think he is nothing. But true leaders know how to serve. Humility is the heart of leadership. Maya's mind raced. Every time she had laughed at him, ignored him, or doubted him flashed before her like a painful memory. She realized how wrong she had been. Mr. Hale continued. "I've been watching how this company treats its people, from the top down. It's time we remember respect is earned by every hand that works here." The room remained silent, filled with a new respect for the man who had seemed so simple, but was truly powerful. Maya's eyes filled with tears. The man she had laughed at was not just the janitor. He was the heart and soul of the company. Her world had shifted in a way she never expected. After the meeting, Maya sat at her desk, feeling a heavy weight in her chest. She kept replaying everything Mr. Hale had said. The man she had laughed at, the one she had ignored or even looked down upon, was the real founder, the person who built the company from the ground up. And he had been working quietly among them all this time, teaching lessons about respect and humility. She felt ashamed. How many times had she judged him, just by his clothes or his job? How many times had she laughed at him with her friends? The thought made her stomach twist. She remembered the moment when he had smiled kindly at her after her mistake at work. Now she understood it wasn't just kindness, it was patience, wisdom and grace. That afternoon, Mr. Hale walked past her desk. Maya's heart pounded. She took a deep breath and said, her voice trembling, "Mr. Hale, I'm sorry, I judged you. I didn't see you for who you really are." He stopped and looked at her with warm eyes. "Thank you for saying that. We all make mistakes, Maya. What matters is what you do next." His words felt like a lifeline. She promised herself she wouldn't waste the second chance he was giving her. The company seemed different now. People whispered about the janitor-turned-founder story. Respect grew not just for Mr. Hale, but for every person who worked there, no matter their role. Maya started to pay attention, to listen, to learn from everyone around her. She smiled at the cleaning staff, thanked the delivery people, and treated her co-workers with more kindness. She felt something inside change, an understanding that real power wasn't about a title or a suit. It was about humility, respect and courage. And maybe, just maybe, she was beginning to become the kind of person she wanted to be. Months passed, and Maya's life at the company began to change in ways she never expected. She worked harder than ever, but now her success wasn't just about climbing the ladder, it was about how she treated everyone around her. She greeted the cleaning crew with a smile. She thanked the delivery drivers and listened when they spoke. The small acts of kindness made the office feel warmer. Mr. Hale noticed, he often stopped by her desk to say a few encouraging words. Sometimes he shared stories about his journey, how he had started with nothing, and learned the value of every role in the company. Maya soaked in every lesson, determined to grow not just as an employee, but as a person. One evening, during the company's annual awards ceremony, Maya sat nervously in the crowd. She didn't expect much, just another night at work. But when her name was called for Employee of the Year, the room erupted in applause. Mr. Hale stood next to her, holding the award. "Maya," he said with a warm smile, "you've shown what it means to grow with humility and respect. You've become a leader, not just by your work, but by your heart." As she accepted the award, Maya's mind flashed back to her first day, the laughter, the judgments, the mistakes. She thought of the man who cleaned the bathrooms, humming to himself, proud and calm. The man she had laughed at, but who turned out to be the greatest teacher she ever had. In that moment, she knew her life had changed forever. She once laughed at a man with a mop. Now she was proud to learn from him, and she understood that real success isn't about titles or appearances, it's about respect, humility, and seeing the worth in everyone.